College football week 14 has been an absolute zoo. Now, the chaos that we predicted that would break out on the field actually broke out off the field. And a lot of it had to do with Mr. Lane Kiffin himself and how he was handling everything over there at Ole Miss. So we got to talk about that. We got to talk about the week 14 games. We got to talk about how the college football committee is going to react. We got to talk about Texas fans crying real tears and if there is any truth to the mess that they're talking about oh well we just won't schedule tough games and they're disincentivizing people in this. Oh, come on, man. We got to tell the truth. Notre Dame, Miami, we got so much to talk about. And you guys, make sure that you like, subscribe, get notifications, tell a friend about the show, and most importantly, share. If you're watching on X, make sure you hop over there on YouTube and share with a friend. All right. So let's get to the beginning. Week 14, it was absolute chalk outside of an overrated Texas A&M team getting beat by Texas. Outside of that, it was 100% chalk. Now, the question is, though, is what does that mean? Because the AP poll ranking showed some reflection. The ACC could be in trouble. And there's all sorts of stuff. But where we are going to start today is with the Lane Kiffin drama because this has dominated the news cycle and the news waves for 3 weeks or more. And there is not a single solitary This was the worst kept secret in all of 2025 that Lane Kiffin was going to leave Ole Miss and go to LSU. So, a lot of people have been blamed for this. College football administration, the calendar, all of these things. So, we are going to break them down. So, you guys have seen a lot of people blaming the college football calendar for the issues that have arisen with coaches and everything else. Yes, 100% there is a calendar issue. But the calendar issue in college football, the issue is that it does not align with the academic calendar. Because remember, these players, they have to be students to be student athletes. So you can't get kids in school when the portal opens January 2nd. You can or high school early enrollees, they can't get into school in middle of January, end of January. They are behind on the quarter system, which is only 10 weeks long. So then you're not going to pass classes. Or on the semester system, it creates a mess as well. So let's start with the whole calendar part of it. So National Signing Day is this week. National Signing Day is this week for high schoolers. A lot of these kids are going to early enroll into college. They are going to early enroll and play college football. And that means that they are going to check in, some of them around Christmas break, to be able to practice with their team. And then they're going to start school in January. So the question is, when would you put National Signing Day outside of now? Because you got to wait till the high school season is over with because kids are going to get new offers and all of that. So you have to have a National Signing Day there. There is no other point to put National Signing Day, which has existed without issue really for a very long time. It used to be in February, but then now there's 2 signing periods. There's no issue with National Signing Day. The issue is the transfer portal. And the issue is when college football is over. If you ended college football on January 1st, you would eliminate so many of these issues. you would have an issue with National Signing Day and coaches wanting to leave and get their class right. You would have that issue. But you know what you wouldn't have? You would not have a head coach trying to leave during the middle of a playoff run. Now, let's look at and examine and tell the truth about this Lane Kiffin situation. He has blamed everybody else for this except himself. Lane Kiffin caused this. The administration, their athletic director, Carter, he did not cause this. Lane Kiffin caused this because this is what Lane Kiffin does. He blows up good situations. He's done it since he was with the Raiders, then with Tennessee, then with USC, and now he's doing it again at Ole Miss. Well, it's the athletic director's fault for giving him an ultimatum. No, actually, the athletic director, his biggest crime was not getting this resolved a week ago. And the reason why is because he needs to. Because they're like, well, why did he have to make a decision before the season was over with? Because of all of those factors that I mentioned. High school recruiting, transfer portal. If you let Lane Kiffin stay in your building and finish that season, how are you going to hire a new coach when you got stepdad over here, ex-husband over here running through the building every day? Who sits in his office? How do you manage that? You can't. Lane Kiffin was trying to have his cake and eat it too. And somebody finally told Lane Kiffin, no, no, you cannot. This is like what happened at Michigan in college basketball, where the coach was getting ready to leave. And he said, well, I want to finish out the tournament. A Michigan man will coach Michigan. Somebody who wants to be at Ole Miss should be coaching Ole Miss. And this is why I said a long time ago that if I were the athletic director at Ole Miss, I would have told Lane Kiffin a long time ago, look, if you don't want to be here, here's your extension. You matter more to us than another program. And by that I mean this. Think about this in NIL terms. A kid from Eugene, Oregon, like Bryce Betcher or Justin Herbert, is worth more in that community than he is in Oxford, Mississippi, because he's part of that community. Hometown heroes are worth more. So Lane was a hometown hero at Ole Miss. Everything's working out for him. He decides he wants to leave. Okay, cool. But Ole Miss was like, okay, we will pay you whatever, basically whatever. The administration has bent over time and time again, uniforms, the stadium atmosphere, everything that he wanted. And it's fine. Lane has every single right to choose to leave. That I am not disputing. But what you don't do, you don't get a chance to choose how the consequences show up. And Ole Miss drew a hard line because they have to protect themselves. Ole Miss had to do what was best for Ole Miss, just like Lane Kiffin had to do what was best for Lane Kiffin. So any fault on the athletic director for putting a timeline on there was making sure that he got his head coach in case he needed to interview other people and all of this. So from what I understand from sources that I have talked to, Ole Miss brass contacted Summerall. They contacted Alex Golesh because up until yesterday, there was belief that Lane Kiffin may go back to Ole Miss. And you're like, what the? Why would you believe this? If he wanted to sign an extension, he would have signed an extension. This is the same talk I had with Washington fans last year, talking about Kalen DeBoer. If Kalen DeBoer wanted to be at Washington, he would have signed a damn extension. Lane Kiffin was always leaving. Always leaving. I talked to multiple coaches in college football. When his family went to Gainesville and then went to LSU, they were like, The only time that your wife comes with you or goes on these trips and all that stuff, you're gone. This is coming from college football, sitting college football coaches right now. They were like, "Oh, he gone. Wife went, kids went. Oh, gone, bro." That's the way it works. So any idea that this is Ole Miss's fault? No. Ole Miss did everything that they were supposed to do. And then Lane is sitting up here, even with Marty from ESPN. He did it with Pat McAfee, just up there softballing and lying. Oh man, listen, we wanted everything to be fine. It takes some responsibility, Lane. You did this. You did this. There is nobody else's fault but him. And look at the fallout. And he absolutely in his statement had the audacity to say, "Oh, the kids, they wanted me to coach. They wanted me to coach." Yeah, there was probably a certain percentage of players who wanted Lane Kiffin to coach. Probably a certain percentage. But a lot of them kids are pissed. And I'm gonna put the statement on the screen so you guys can see it, if you guys can read it. So there's the statement. Oh, the kids wanted me to coach. Are you sure about that, Lane? Because I talked to multiple people over there. That ain't what I heard. This is a situation where Lane Kiffin put himself and his own wishes above what he said. And this is where I get lost with college football coaches sometimes and frustrated. And college football in general and the fans, because on one hand, coaches will sit up here and tell kids, you gotta be all in. You uh we over I. There's no I in team, together, connection, all of this stuff. And then turn around and do what's best for them and not we. Now, granted, we all want economic stability. We all want the geographic desirability, our family to be happy in a good place, all of those things. But the issue is this, it's how Lane handled it. You look at USF, they put out a statement thanking Alex Golesh, who picked up and left. They put out a statement. We wish him well. He handled this perfectly. We love him and all of those things. We love what he's done for our university. I wonder why. And I've heard people say, well, George, whether it's Alex Golesh, John Summerall, who went to Florida, and well, Golesh going to Auburn, or or any of these other coaches. What did you expect them to say, George? Well, I didn't expect them to lie. Here is what I will give you, the exact script of what a coach should say to his players in these situations. The exact script that he should tell is, hey guys, and mind you, it is different at a Power 4 school than it is at a G6 school. But either way, when your name starts floating around and you're actually considering it, here's what you should say to your team. Hey guys, I know it is we over I. There's no I in team. This is us. But here's the thing, guys. There's a time for pay and there's a time for play. And mind you, you should say this in the off season. There's a time for play and there's a time for pay. We are in play time right now. And toward the end of the season, there will be some pay time for some of you, whether it's the NFL, whether it's next year, some NIL money, anything like that. I need you to buy in. I don't need you to buy in for 4 years, and I need you to buy in for this year. I need everything that you got this year. I'll give you everything that I got. And when it is time for pay, we will all make the decisions that are best for us individually. But if we decide we're going to do something together, Honor your word, and I'll honor mine. That's it. You don't have to lie to nobody. And then when your team asks you, yo, are you leaving? Hey guys, you know I'm here with you. I'm focused on what we're doing right now, but there is some pay time stuff that is going on. I am having some conversations. As soon as I know anything, I will let you guys know. You will not hear it from the news. You will not get blindsided. You will hear it from me. That is exactly what my head coach, Mike Bellotti, did at Oregon when he was interviewing for the USC job. He told the truth. Lane could have done this, but he chose not to. This was weak as hell. This was par for the course for Lane Kiffin. And you guys make sure that you guys hop in the chat because you already know I will get to your stuff. You already know I will get to your stuff in the chat, and make sure you guys share and subscribe. All right, so the college football calendar is to blame. Lane Kiffin, and all of that. But now let's get to these other head coaching jobs that have been filled. So there was one that was taken by just absolute storm, and it happened quickly. Jonathan Smith got fired at Michigan State, and Pat Fitzgerald is the new head coach at Michigan State. Now, there's going to be a lot of people who are highly critical of Jonathan Smith. I am not one of those people. And the reason why I am not critical of this job that Jonathan Smith did at Michigan State is he was not made aware of all the sanctions that were coming, the lawsuits, and everything that was going on when he took the job. The AD hired him, and the boosters weren't behind him. All of that stuff. He was set up to fail, and he failed. But now Pat Fitzgerald comes in, really good coach over at Northwestern. I believe that he's going to have a very good opportunity to have success in East Lansing, and I hope he does. He's a blue collar guy. He will fit perfectly in that town. Now let's talk about these other head coaches. Alex Golesh going to Auburn. I love it. I love everything about it. You think about his story. Family comes to America, $7, didn't even play football. Wait, hold up. One of the most in-demand college football coaches didn't coach football, but he's in demand and we want him. And yes, exactly. Exactly. You just because you coach, just because you played don't mean you know it more, and just because you didn't play don't mean that you can't be an expert at it. However, your chances are better if you did play, though. Just saying. I love this because Alex Golesh is a builder. He is blue collar. Now, if Auburn's brass, their boosters, if they can get on the same page and stop being malcontented people, they will be just fine. They will be 100% just fine in this man's care. And honestly, I love it. I love him at Auburn. This is a very good situation. He is going to build. Look at their defense versus Alabama last night. Look at their defense at Auburn pretty much all year. They have talent on this roster. It's just a bad football team. That feels like out of these, this feels like the absolute best chance of success in the situation. Now, the next one up, Ryan Silverfield at Arkansas. Love that as well. Now, I was hoping that he would end up at the UCLA job, but he is in on being at Arkansas as well. He doesn't have to go far, drive across the Memphis Bridge, the Arkansas Bridge, drive over, not that far to get to get to Fayetteville. Everything's good. And Ryan Silverfield is now going to have way more resources. And I have heard so many people sit up here and talk, oh my God, I can't believe they hired Silverfield. This is a bad idea. He's overrated, this and it. Here is the truth about Ryan Silverfield and about the Arkansas job and the situation just in general is this. It is a difficult job at Memphis. He has like 70 something new transfers this year and was able to build. This was a good situation and he will thrive there. But the reason why the negative reaction happened is because all of these schools, particularly LSU, they want to win the press conference. They want to win the press conference. When at the end of the day, winning football games is what matters the most. They don't give a damn about the press conference. Dan Campbell had one of the worst press conferences of all time. Introductory press conferences. Oh, doing a damn good job up there in with the Detroit Lions. Stop trying to win the press conference and find you a great football coach, a leader of men, somebody who can recruit at a high level. That's how you do it. Now let's talk about John Summerall at Florida. I hate this with the power of 1,000 suns. Not because John Summerall's not a good coach, but because LSU people are crazy. You sat here and you begged, you groveled, you got on your knees for Lane Kiffin, a coach who has not won a damn thing, a journeyman, giving him $90 million, probably fully guaranteed. And you're doing that instead of driving an hour and a half from Baton Rouge to New Orleans to go hire John Summerall, somebody who's at Tulane, who's a prestigious academic university. So he's winning at Tulane, might be in the college football playoff, and we're sitting here having a conversation about, oh man, we need Lane Kiffin. John Summerall understands Louisiana. He understands the kids there. He could probably tell you the difference between an etouffee and a gumbo. Lane Kiffin can't tell you the difference between that. He probably know what a root is. He knows the ins and outs of the bayou. Lane Kiffin is no different than Brian Kelly coming down there. He's a city slicker. He ain't from there. He don't get it. And he may be more adept to learning it, but they are going to regret this. John Summerall was the answer for LSU, but now you have hitched your wagon for $90+ million to Lane Kiffin, the same man who sat here a year ago. I mean, I don't know if we want to play in the SEC championship. I mean, is it worth it? We don't have what? That's soft. Look at Kirby Smart's interview, his press conferences. Hey, man, you run from hard, guess what you find? More hard. Lane Kiffin ran from Ole Miss, a place where he was building something, growing something, becoming a legend, to get an easier path. And you know what he's going to run into? Hard. He's going to run into a lot of hard. You can't duck the smoke. This is not talking about. I mean, should we really want to play in the SEC champion? Yes, you want to play every football game that you can to go win something. It's about competing. That's no different than USC people talking about. Oh well, I mean, there's no point in playing Notre Dame, right? Get out of here. I have also heard people compare the John Summerall situation at Tulane because they're possibly going to the playoff and the Lane Kiffin situation where he's leaving a team that is 100% going to the playoff. These two things are not the same. And there's a reason why he's probably going to be able to finish out with his team. When you are coaching a G6 team, it is totally different. The resources are different. The ceiling is different. The money is different. John Summerall has the ability to make 3 times his salary in a few years by what the top offer that Tulane gave him when they were like, we can get you up to 4 million. He's like, I'm starting at probably 8 over here with the ability to get to 12, $13 million. My resources are different. I actually have a chance to win a national championship. It's not the same. So to act like what Lane Kiffin did and John Summerall did is the same is intellectually dishonest. You are actually making an effort to try to compare things. You are comparing apples to lemons, and you know it. And you're trying to prove a point that cannot be proven. It's silliness. Silly. I hope John Summerall succeeds at Florida. It doesn't feel like as good of a fit as it would have in Baton Rouge, but LSU gonna get what they gonna get. I'm telling y'all right now, I believe Lane Kiffin's obviously going to win some football games. Might take him to the playoff. When it comes down to it, he ain't winning no national championship. He won't. He is the James Harden of football coaches. James Harden. James Harden. Stats look pretty. Game look pretty. That shot is nice. Huge contracts, endorsement deals, everything. But when it come down to it, and you got to get down and dirty, play some defense and gut check time, it's checkout time. And that's Lane Kiffin. All right. So I've been on the Lane Kiffin trail, but now let's talk about the last man on here. Hey, this is Ole Miss's new head coach, Pete Golding, who was their defensive coordinator. And mind you, I believe with everything from sources and what the reporting from people like Pete Nakos, Thamel, who are locked in low, that Lane Kiffin put an ultimatum on his coaches. You don't get on this plane today, ain't no job for you. Yet a couple people get on that plane. But the issue is that they're short-sighted. And so the coaches that stayed back saw is, nah, I'm not hitching my wagon to Lane. I like Lane. I'm working for him. I'm not hitching my wagon to him. So Charlie Weiss, who got on that plane, other people who got on that plane, you better hope you succeed there. It's going to be hard to find head coaching jobs because if you'll work for this dude and you'll follow him there, mm, what will you do to us? Just saying. Like you have to think about it. And Pete Golding, he is getting his opportunity. Ole Miss is going to love Pete Golding. I wish all the wins on Pete Golding, except for if they play one particular team. That's it. That's it. I wish all the wins on this man because when it comes down, when it comes down to how Ole Miss fans feel about him, you saw them at the airport booing Lane Kiffin and everything else. They are going to rally around this man. They are going to rally around him. They are going to show him every single bit of love that they possibly can because they want a quiet. Excuse me. I've been traveling every week for the college football show, and you know, it got me a little bit, as you can hear in the voice. So that's the college football coach talk. Now there is still one, well, actually two major jobs open. One of them is UCLA, and one of them is Penn State. Now, UCLA wants Chesney. That is their guy, the James Madison head coach. That is their numero uno. And no, it's not going to be Jed Fish from Washington. Okay. I told y'all that a month ago. So this man has the opportunity, Chesney, to go to UCLA, build something good. He's a builder. I love that hire. But Penn State, I want y'all to pay attention to Penn State. They have been extremely quiet. I do not believe now. Now, there are people talking about the Terry Smith, who's the interim coach. He should get the head coaching job. But I'm like, did you really fire James Franklin? And mind you, this is no offense to Terry Smith, but did you really fire James Franklin to hire Terry Smith, who was on his staff? Now, granted, sometimes people who are on staffs, they can do a better job than the head coach. But James Franklin was winning there. This doesn't feel, there's something awry in Penn State. If we don't hear a head coach announced by Penn State tomorrow, here's what I have heard. I have confirmed this with people in terms of this being a plausible theory that Penn State, if they do not hire him, if they do not hire their head coach, announce him by tomorrow. If we wake up on Tuesday, we know what it is. That it is a coach that is either playing in a conference championship game or a coach that is, yeah, either a coach is playing in the conference championship game or a coach going to the playoff. That is the only way. That means that somebody is sitting there. Or that the Lincoln Riley, we've heard Lincoln Riley rumors. We've heard Kalani Sitake rumors. Now, out of all of those, Kalani Sitake seems the most unreasonable to me. He's a BYU alum. His family's in Provo. The LDS community is behind him. The poly community is behind him. And if he goes to Penn State, he ain't gonna be welcome back in Utah for the holidays. It's gonna be an uncomfortable situation for him there. So my friends, it's not that Penn State's not a great job, but that don't make a lot of sense to me in terms of your own life. And remember, Kalani Sitake's wife is the one that told him he belongs there. He was gonna get the job, all of this stuff. So she got the keys to the thing. She's gonna uproot her life to go there. Telling you, it just doesn't make sense for the poly community. Don't make sense for the LDS community. That makes. I mean, I would probably fall over and faint if Kalani Sitake were the new head coach at Penn State. Now let's talk about Lincoln Riley. I think he's a coastal guy. I don't think he really wants to live in College Station. So that feels unlikely. But we've also heard the Kalen DeBoer rumors. So if they don't hire a head coach, maybe that there's some truth to that. Because they're not just going to be sitting there on their hands while all of these good coaches get snatched up like proven head coaches, unless they're getting Brian Hartline. But if they were getting Brian Hartline, why would you not announce you're getting Brian Hartline? National Signing Day is 3 days from now. Why would you not announce it? This is craziness. And yes, I'm going to get to the college football playoff talk. I see it in the chat. I will get to it in just a minute. Stay here with me. Penn State makes no sense. There is something sneaky. There's something weird. If we don't hear something by tomorrow, something is up, and it might be Kalen DeBoer. And I've heard people say, "Well, why would Kalen DeBoer leave Alabama to go to Penn State?" Maybe one, because he regrets leaving Washington, and number two, because he's sitting there like, and this is hypothetical. What if his family hates being in Tuscaloosa? There's another coach I know who was in Tuscaloosa. His wife did not like Tuscaloosa and had no desire to go back there when that job came open. What if the SEC it just means more psycho crowd? And I mean that with all the love and respect, because you guys make college football great. It's too much for him. Following the legend unrealistic expectations. What if that is, he's like, bro, I don't want to do this. And he's like, but I am a really good football coach. And the level of, suit and tie people over at Penn State, that fits me a little bit better. I see in the chat, Jed is moving somewhere. Jed Fish is not moving. I do not believe that Jed Fish is moving. I don't believe he's going to leave Washington. I believe he's doing, good work there. Stuff's continuing to get bigger and better. Yeah, I do not believe that Jed Fish is going to leave Washington. All right. Now let's get on to Texas and the college football playoff. I have seen so much incessant crying by Texas fans, and it is unbecoming, to say the least. Texas fans and this whole, after they beat Texas A&M, they're like, we deserve to be in the college football playoff. You're going to all you're going to do is tell people, don't schedule tough teams. Don't schedule tough teams. And I'm like, how is that what you got from this? How is that what you got? It is copium at its finest. They're like, well, if we had played somebody else instead of playing Ohio State, we would be fine. Are you sure about that? Actually, no. People are actually, at least people that I've talked to and things that I've heard, and the narrative, you lost to Ohio State 14-7. You outgained them. That's a quality loss. The issue is that your quarterback looked awful in the beginning of the season. So yes, you got dinged in people's minds. Your defense has been shredded at times. You're having trouble running the football. You don't look like a national championship caliber team. And now after a win against Texas A&M, who's severely overrated because they have not played any of the top teams in the SEC. Texas is the best team in the SEC that they played. But we're sitting here trying to act like a 16-13 win over a Kentucky team that just got beat 41-0 by Louisville. A 45-38 overtime win against Mississippi State. 38-45. What are we doing here? And you were down big in the fourth quarter. It took you a miracle comeback. You're like, oh, but we beat 3 top 10 teams. Who? Vanderbilt ain't a top 10 team. They're close. They're a good football team. But don't give me that when we played them stuff. Oregon played Penn State. They were number 2 or number 3 in the country. But you want to discount that though, right? Listen, Texas fans, you had a great season. You had a great season. It's good. You're 9-3. And no losses, like the number of wins and the number of losses should not just dictate where you are in the playoff. It should not. But there is a level of navigating your schedule that matters. Last year you had Texas get the favorable end of the SEC schedule. This year, because Vanderbilt was good, it was a little bit tougher. The Oklahoma win, that's a nice win. Oklahoma's not a championship caliber team either. They got no offense. All the defense, no offense. So Texas, you beat Texas A&M. You gave up 37 points to Arkansas, and then Georgia beat you by 25. So you lost to a terrible Florida team, and you lost by 25 to Georgia. You may have been on the outside looking into the playoffs anyway. You might have been right about where Vanderbilt is, sitting one spot in front of them. So the idea that you beat Texas A&M and you were like, oh, we belong in the playoff, without seeing the Michigan Ohio State result, without seeing what happened in, with Texas Tech and West Virginia this weekend, or Oklahoma and LSU, just blanketly, we should be in the playoff. You have to navigate your schedule. So I got nothing for you, Texas. I'm sorry. And it was chalk this weekend. So see you in the in the Gator Bowl or whatever else that you're gonna play in. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news, buddy. Um, you guys, where do you all right, so now let's get to talking about the college football playoff rankings. Now we don't have the polls yet. So I'm gonna put up the college football rankings from last week, which are right here. Uh to my right, your left, and then the AP poll from today. So I believe what's going to happen when the college football playoff comes out on Tuesday is Texas A&M, who lost to Texas in very convincing fashion, falls behind Oregon. So now Oregon goes up to 5, Georgia goes up to 3, Texas Tech goes up to 4. Now, I would not have had Texas Tech behind Oregon because I believe Texas Tech is the most underrated team in college football right now. But here's the other thing. A lot of this is about familiarity. Think about like 10 years, 20 years ago when I was playing at Oregon. Actually, it was longer than that, but you get it. When we were going to the national championship game, or we were number 2 in the AP poll, number 2 in the USA Today poll, and then came in number 3 in the BCS. Do you know how long it took for people to feel comfortable with Oregon being a top 10 team, a top 15 team, and seeing it, and then like, oh, they're on the West Coast, they're overrated, they don't play anybody, this. And then you beat Ohio State a couple times. You go on the road and beat Penn State. You have other big wins along the way in tough environments, and then you start getting the benefit of the doubt. Like Alabama gets the benefit of the doubt. Georgia gets the benefit of the doubt. Think about how many times we've heard college football analysts, and this is why you guys watch this show, because I'm college football's truth. I am college football's truth teller. I show up for you, whether I'm at work, in on the studio, driving in the car. The content must get out. So I believe that this is what is going to happen. You are going to have Texas on the outside looking in. I believe that Texas is going to jump in front of Michigan in the rankings, and they're probably going to jump in front of Utah. And then you're going to have Miami. Oh, and then Miami's going to jump in front of BYU. So I believe Miami's going to be 11. Texas is going to be 12. Actually, yeah, Texas. Jeez. Vanderbilt is going to be 12. Texas is going to be 13. And then we're going to have Utah after that. Well, BYU and then Utah. That's the way I believe it's going to shake out. Unless Alabama gets some, even though they're playing in the SEC championship, that Auburn performance, yes, it was the Iron Bowl, but Auburn's not a very good team. So there is a world where Miami, even though they're not playing in their conference championship, gets jumped in front of them. But then that brings up the Notre Dame and Miami debate. Now, they have the same amount of losses, but Notre Dame's losses are to Texas A&M, overrated Texas A&M, and then also to Miami. Two well thought of teams in the beginning of the season. And Notre Dame has been trending in a completely different direction since then. Miami, on the other hand, lost to an SMU team that just lost to Cal last night to not get into the college football playoff. I'm sorry, to not get into the Big 12 championship. Sorry, ACC championship. Lord have mercy. And then they also lost to Louisville, who's now unranked. So Miami's losses are worse. And if you use your eyeball test, you're like, Notre Dame looks like a better football team. But I do believe the head-to-head should matter. But the issue is that when they got so far apart, it's now hard to close the gap. That's where I think that Miami is. I think that it is going to get extremely tough for them, and it is going to depend on what happens in these conference championships. So let's talk about that part of things. The ACC is 100% in trouble right now. In trouble. Duke, 7-5 Duke, is playing against Virginia. Virginia is ranked this last week number 18. They'll probably move up in front of Michigan. So they'll probably be at least 17 this week. So if they win the ACC championship, they are 100% sure going to the college football playoff. Okay. Arizona State is probably going to be 25 this week. Arizona will be about 20. But it is SMU and Pitt who are going to fall out of the rankings for sure. So if James Madison ends up ranked, now here's where the college football playoff gets weird. If James Madison ends up ranked, and you have Tulane and I believe, Tulane's playing in the conference championship. So if you have Tulane playing in the conference championship against North Texas, if North Texas wins, North Texas will probably squeak into the 25 spot, which will give them an automatic berth into the college football playoff. But here is where the committee could get nasty. Peep this. What if Duke wins the ACC and then North Texas, who is unranked, wins against Tulane? Now you're going to get into a situation where the five highest ranked conference champions get into the playoff. Big 12, Big 10, and SEC. That's not going to be an issue. But now you're going to be playing around with rankings below number 25 about James Madison, Duke, and then James Madison if they win their conference championship. James Madison, Duke, and North Texas. And the same thing happens if Tulane wins. So now you're going to be judging James Madison versus Duke. James Madison versus Duke. I wonder how that'll turn out. Because Tulane already beat Duke. So you can't say that Duke is a Power 4 team and would automatically get beat by a G6 team in James Madison would automatically get beat by Duke. Because Duke already lost to Tulane. So you can't in any way say that. You can't say that at all. These are the constant issues that you run into in this situation. And that's why it is hard with only 9 conference games. I'm sorry, with 9, some teams playing 9 conference games, some teams playing 8. The consistency is what we need right now. All right, so the ACC has a problem. They need to pray that Virginia wins. I mean, if I'm the ACC commissioner, I'm like, hey, yo, refs, I'm either trying to change the rules or something. I'm doing the Mountain West. Oh, and then there's the Mountain West where you got UNLV also in the mix. So you have UNLV, Boise State. UNLV will win, they'd be 11-2. So you would have to consider them compared to North Texas if they beat Tulane. Then there is the scenario about and let me pull up these games that way you guys can see them. All right. So here's the games that we got. We got, and I want you guys to plus. So here's what we got. We got BYU, Texas Tech. What happens if BYU beats Texas Tech? If that happens, now granted, nothing in the first game because BYU's only loss is to Texas Tech. Texas Tech only loss is to Arizona State, but Texas Tech didn't have their quarterback. I do not believe that if BYU beats Texas Tech and they're 1-1, that Texas Tech gets left out of the college football playoff. So then two Big 12 teams get in. And you know what that means for Alabama if they don't win the SEC? Sayonara, pal. Sayonara. If they lose to Georgia and BYU beats Texas A&M, the Big 12 is not getting one team in the college football playoff. They're getting two. Because Texas Tech is going to be in the top 4 this week. And they're not going to fall out. So Texas fans crying, you might be assed out if we're being honest. Now, to go back to the Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss thing for a second. Originally, I was of the opinion that if Lane Kiffin left, that you could have a conversation about whether this team should even be in the college football playoff. I'm not leaving them out. I'm giving Lane the middle finger. And they're staying in. They may not get a home game, but they're staying in. And then you got Indy. Actually, let's go to this Georgia Alabama game for a second. Georgia and Alabama. This is a very good football game, but Kirby Smart has an Alabama problem. I believe that in this game, Georgia will find a way to win. They're trending in the right direction. Alabama's got some weird stuff going on. Ryan Williams is probably going to be in the transfer portal because he's not playing. I mean, that's got to be a natural assumption. So it's getting tricky around there. So if Alabama beats Georgia, Alabama and Georgia are getting in. This is where stuff, and remember, I predicted chaos last week. We might get that chaos this week. Because if, let's say that Virginia wins and it's chalk in the SEC, and then Tulane wins. So now those are 2 spots that are taken up. Okay. So you got the G6 and the ACC. This is the thing that I want you guys to peep. So we got, I want to make sure that my math is correct. So I'm always taking count. So I got my pen, I got my paper. So we got Virginia from the ACC, Tulane from the G6. Assume that that's chalk. Then what do we have from there? We have Oregon is in. Let me put the thing up. Oregon is in. Ole Miss is in. Oklahoma is in. Let's go there. So that's 5 teams in. Oh, and Indiana and Ohio State are in. Because the outcome of that game is not going to impact at all what happens. So you got Virginia, Tulane, Oregon, Ole Miss. So that's 1, Ole Miss, Oklahoma, Indiana, Ohio State. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 spots. Okay. Texas A&M. We're going to write them down here at the bottom. Okay. Georgia, 100% is in the playoff, no matter what. Okay. No matter win or lose, Georgia's getting into the playoff. So now we got 4 spots left. Okay. For Notre Dame, Alabama, BYU, Miami, whoever else. Okay. So now, and then we got Texas Tech is in no matter what. Okay. They're not getting left out of the playoff. So now we got 9. And we got the ACC represented. We got the Big Ten represented. We got the SEC represented. And we got the Big 12 represented already, right? But what happens? What the hell happens if Alabama beats Georgia? If Alabama beats Georgia, then we got Alabama in. Okay. That's 10 teams. And then what happened? And then let's say that, I guess we can assume that Texas Tech is in no matter what. But let's go to the Big 12 champion. What happens if BYU wins? Now, BYU is in the conference, is in the playoff. So now we got one single solitary spot left. One spot left for Notre Dame. Yeah, for Notre Dame, Miami, Utah, Vanderbilt, and Texas. Who are you putting in if that's the case? Who are you putting in? That's where it gets tricky. So somebody is going to get left out, and I'm telling you this from jump. I do not feel sorry for anybody that gets left out of the college football playoff. I don't. I don't. If you're number 11, 12, 13 and the math don't math for you, sorry. Sorry. Now I will. I do not believe that Texas is first out. They got a lot of teams to get in front of, including some SEC teams. It ain't happening, and they're not going to get 6 SEC teams in the playoffs. That's not going to happen. So if Georgia beats Alabama, Alabama might actually fall out of the playoff, which their fans will be berserko. But I'll be right at that point in time where I said that they where they missed the college football playoff. So it's gonna get real crazy there. But now I want to go back to this last week of college football. Last week of college football. Because Georgia beat Georgia Tech in an absolute nail biter. But it was a nail biter, but it was also not competitive at the same time, in the fact that you never felt that Georgia was going to lose this football game, even though it was 16-9. You never felt like that. Yes, they were up, 13-6 at the end of the third quarter, which is within a touchdown, but they were never in a position to take the lead. Haynes King only threw for 181 yards, and Georgia Tech only rushed for 69 yards. But the issue is, when you look at Georgia, Gunnar Stockton got absolutely put in a headlock. 11, 11 for 22 for 70 yards? A touchdown and a pick? What are we doing? That gives me a little bit of pause, because Georgia Tech's defense has been getting absolutely cooked this year. And yes, I know rivalry games are a little bit different, but they've been getting cooked. They gave up 42 to Pitt last week. They gave up 34 to Boston College, 48 to NC State. That's outrageous. And so you're like, Georgia couldn't score. I know it's a rivalry game. You got to throw records out, but you don't get to throw your bad defense out. Defense stinks. That is of high concern if you are a Georgia fan, and especially with the way that things shook out. Then we had, I'm just gonna put up the screen share because that's a little bit easier. This Indiana Purdue game, dude. Indiana. Every time Kurt Signetti gets a chance to knock somebody's face in, he does that. 56-3 people. Jesus Christ! Like you should be thrown in jail for that, Kurt. I have been, but the thing is, people believe that Indiana is fool's gold. They're probably going to get they're going to get a bye in the college football playoff. If they lose that bye game, they're like, see, they're frauds. No, that's not what that means. Teams got to learn how to handle byes. But this Indiana defense is for real. I am for real. They are. That is the best thing about them. Their offense can be nerfed. It can be stopped. Fernando Mendoza, good player. But they can be stopped. We talked about Texas A&M and Texas. Texas dominated this football game. Make Marcel Reed throw the football, and you can beat Texas A&M as long as you can stop the run and keep him contained. Texas A&M and Washington are pretty much the same team. Jitterbug quarterback who can throw the ball, but also has some accuracy issues and will throw you the football occasionally. Yeah. But both of them are talented teams. Ole Miss, Mississippi State. Ole Miss dominated the football game. That was good. Utah, Kansas. Good football game, but I am not convinced that Utah is an elite football team. They gave up another 200. Think about this. In the last 2 weeks, the number 13 team in the country gave up 700 yards rushing. They won both games, but 700 yards rushing? That's not even that sounds ridiculous. Ridiculous. Oh wait, no, excuse me. 600 and some odd, almost 700. Excuse me. I want to be a man of accuracy. Utah can't stop a nosebleed in the run game. I want to talk about this game for half a second. Iowa and Nebraska, because Nebraska fans are on my bumper right now because I talked about their precious head coach, Matt Rule. I don't understand why these schools keep extending coaches when they don't need to be extended. Well, Matt Rule was going to go to Penn State. Okay, then let him. You do not want a hostage. You want a head coach. Get somebody who wants to be there. If Matt Rule wanted to leave, let his ass leave. Now you're sitting at 7-5, and Iowa just kicked you in the face. They just did bad things to you. And Iowa offense that is mid as can be. 9 for 24, TJ Lateef. I know he's a freshman, but still. Mark Gronowski, 9 for 16. Bro, they just shortened the game and they just ran the hell all over you. Stop it. But you want us to believe that things are headed in the right direction for you? Nope. No sirree. No sirree, Bob. But then on Saturday, Oregon, Washington. It feels like people are starting to believe in the Ducks. Feels like they are. Because this win, even though it was only a 12-point win, when you watch the game, Washington never had the ball in a position to take the lead. Every time it got within one score, it was. And this Oregon team, their offensive line, even though that they were healthy in this game, beat up, hurt still, not healthy. And their wide receiver core is decimated. But Malik Benson stepped up. Jeremiah McClellan stepped up. Jamari Johnson, tight end, stepped up. Kenyon Sadiq stepped up. This is a very good football team. This is a multifaceted football team. And I'm telling you, there are very few teams that match up well with them going into the playoffs. Their assistant coaches, Will Stein and Tosh Lupoy, who I believe that Tosh Lupoy will be the next Cal head football coach. Surprised the announcement did not come sooner. Well, it has not come yet, I should say, but I do expect him to be the Cal football head coach. But I will tell you this, there is still a lot of movement on this cycle. Somebody's got to go to North Texas. Somebody's got to go to Tulane. Somebody's got to go to uh James Madison when Chesney leaves. Somebody's got to go to all these places that these coaches left. So that is this Oregon team is definitely trending in the right direction. I believe that this team is probably going to end up getting a they're either going to be the 5 seed and play the G6 team, or they're going to be the 4 seed and get a bye. Now, granted, I believe that you should not be trying to orchestrate your way, but it is Sunday, November 30th. The college football playoff starts. The first round of home games is on December 19th and 20th. That is 20 or 21 days from Oregon's last game. Okay. They should be significantly more healthy. But what happens if Oregon gets a bye? They are then going to be playing on on January 1st or December 31st, but probably January 1st because they're a West Coast team and they would be in the Rose Bowl. That means you would be bordering on 32 days and over a month in between games. You saw what happened last year with 25 days off before you got into the Rose Bowl. That would be a monumental task. And people have asked, George, which way do you want it to be? And I've said, I do not care. If you are a team that is going to get a bye, Ohio State, Indiana, possibly Oregon, Texas Tech, Georgia, whoever else, because you actually could end up with all the SEC teams not getting byes if Alabama beats Georgia in the SEC championship. Wouldn't that be insane for those teams to have that much time off? And then the teams that they're playing play, and then 11 days later play again. So they're going to be warmed up and revved up. Styles are going to make fights in this championship run for people. Let's talk about Ohio State for a second. Because this Ohio State team, I want y'all to understand what they did to Michigan. Bryce Underwood, 63 yards and a touchdown. 24 carries for 100 yards. I want you to pay attention to the number of plays. Ohio State had 47 rushing plays. Think about that, 47 rushing plays. Michigan had 18 passing plays and 24 rushing. Wait, that's 42. Ohio State ran the ball more times than Michigan had plays. And then you add in the 26 pass play. This was a total domination and destruction at every single level. Now, if you are a Michigan fan, you should be highly concerned. And the reason why you should be highly concerned, and I heard this today and I was like, damn, that's kind of cold. If Sharon Moore were a free agent in college football coaching right now, would he have guaranteed gotten Florida, Georgia, Florida, LSU? Like, would he have been a top candidate for any of these jobs? Probably not. And if you're Michigan, I know he's a Michigan man, but that should be a little bit scary to you. Because for the second year in a row, your offense looks hot garbage. Your offense looks like it cannot score against anybody good. You ran against USC, ran into too much talent. You couldn't score enough points. Oklahoma held you down, and Oklahoma can't even score. You have scored. Think about this. Michigan has only scored 30 points. 30 points against Michigan State, who's horrible this year on defense. Horrible. New Mexico, Nebraska, and Maryland. You didn't even score 30 against Purdue. 5-point win. Northwestern, you didn't score 30. You almost lost that game. This, you didn't even score. Oh, I'm sorry, excuse me. I forgot. Central Michigan, you did score 63. Central Michigan, you're supposed to beat them by 60 points. Bryce Underwood, there is no reason this kid was not ready. I know that he felt like you've never seen a freshman like me before. Yes, you have. Yes, we have. We've seen a lot of freshmen who look like true freshmen who are not ready to be starters yet. We've seen this movie 56,000 times. But there's no knock on the kid. He is very talented, but when you watch the film, he doesn't know where he's going. He's confused. He's inaccurate. Something's got to get fixed. But that's Michigan. This Ohio State team is either one of two things. I know that their defense is electric. They are either a historically great team. We're talking USC 04, LSU 2019, Georgia 2022. Like, we're talking in that sort of territory. Miami 01, even though my Ducks might have got him, but that's another story. Either they are in that generational team category or they just haven't been tested yet. And when they get into a dogfight, we're going to see what they really made of. That's what I want to see. I want to see what happens when the Buckeyes find themselves in a dogfight. I want to see it. I do. Next game that we got to talk about. Oh God, is a couple of games. One of them is I have to give so much credit to Dabo Swinney. I cannot tell you how much credit. Let me start this over because I want to make sure I'm able to make a short out of this. Uh-oh. I have to give Dabo Swinney all the credit in the world. He found a way to get Clemson to 7-5 this year. This is a testament to leadership and character. I'm not talking about football, whether you should have fired the OC, your DC's bad. None of that. I'm not talking about any of that. They had the chance after starting out 1-4 for this season to turn out like 2-10 Florida State last year. And you know what Dabo did? He has AJ Terrell, TJ Parker, TJ the other wide receiver. He's got two potential first rounders at wide out as well. They could have crumbled this year, but instead they pulled themselves up, dusted themselves off, and they found a way to get to another bowl game. Incredible bowl streak of 20 some, 30 some, however long it is. It's very long. Great job, Dabo. In this day and age where people only celebrate championships, This is a championship because this is the type of thing that will propel his players in life. They will be better. Fathers, sons, husbands, the women in the building, they will be better because they've been through adversity. And you know what they didn't do? They didn't fold. They didn't fold up their tent. They didn't quit. They went out and fought. And I love that with every single ounce of my being. Clemson fans can be proud of this 7-5 team. They may not be happy with it, but they can be proud of it. Two separate things. And on a quick aside, South Carolina, Shane Beamer. There is nothing that we have seen on film since he got his offensive coordinator. He lost his offensive coordinator last year. There's nothing on this film that says that next year is going to be a college football playoff type of year. Doesn't. Started out bad last year. This year you finished atrocious. Actually, started and finished atrocious. So at no point in time, and also when Shane Beamer sat up there in the press conference, I'm 1,000,000% sure we're going to be in the right place next year. I'm 1,000,000,000% sure. He said 1,000,000% and 1,000,000,000% in the same press conference. And what I know, what life has taught me is when people start getting in things over 100%, the percentage chance is probably closer to zero. If you tell me I'm 10,000%, you're probably 0%. 1% maybe. I'm just saying. It is going to be hurt. Um Oh, somebody in the chat, and you guys make sure y'all keep banging this chat away because pause. But because I will get to your comments. All right, here's one of the comments. Is there an argument why Michigan would be a top team in the NIL era? Who is going to spend it? Those rich factory owners in Detroit. I mean, they got they got they got Barstool money. The wife of the man who owns Oracle is a Michigan booster. They got plenty of money. Issue is Sharon Moore's got to recruit better. Because if you put Dan Lanning or Marcus Freeman up in Michigan, they're going to have a top 5 class every single year. And also, you got to fix this offense. Wide receivers don't want to play there. It's not fun football. Just saying. So, oh, not his wife, it's his girlfriend. Ooh. Okay, whole nother thing. All right. Next game that we got to talk about because I always say that there are 2 rules for deciding when you need to switch your coach up. 2 rules. One of them is there a coach that you can for sure get that will do a better job than the one that you have right now? There is Florida State in the last 2 seasons is 7-17. They have not won a road conference game in over 2 seasons. Is there a coach that you can guarantee get that will do a better job? Yes, I can like randomly pull one out of the 136 bag. 7-17 in the last 2 seasons? I can go coach Florida State to that. And that's not a diss on Mike Norvell in terms of him being a human, but the results are the results. And then the second thing is there a loss of hope? Can you go in and recruit and sell them on the fact that the future is brighter than the past? I don't believe at this point that he can do that. And these are real issues. Real issues. He's got a winning record with Jordan Travis at quarterback. And outside of that, at Florida State, a massive, a massive losing record. So Florida State may actually be they're balking at the $58 million buyout, and they're like, if we need to, we'll do it next year. You're gonna lose that in NIL money just from the boosters. You're gonna lose that in season ticket revenue. it may actually end up costing you more to keep him than to fire him. Now, Mike Norvell might land on his feet, get things together, but right now at Florida State, it is unfixable. It is. And it sucks. Like it's not saying anything about him, but it's just not fixable at this point in time. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but the truth is the truths. The truth is the truths. Um, let me see if we missed any games. Hey, oh, you guys, if you I wanted to go back to the coaching thing for a second because I got on Lane Kiffin's head earlier. And y'all make sure y'all go start back at the beginning of the video. I went all over the coaching stuff and went in detail with it. So I had a thought. I was like, which coaches in college football would you give $90 million to? Like Lane Kiffin just got, or Kurt Signetti just got. And do you expect a national championship for that? My initial thought was it depends on where you are. Indiana has been one of the historically worst college football programs in America. If he gets them an average of 9.8 wins a year, which is basically 10 wins a year over the course of this contract, that feels like a win for Indiana. Even if they don't win a national championship, the actual floor for their program has risen from the basement to the penthouse. That feels like it's worth $90 million. $90 million at LSU. What is that worth? That's got to be not just one national championship, maybe two to make it feel worth it, right? So the expectation is different. So I got to thinking, and you guys can put it in the chat. Which head coaches do you believe are worth $90 million guaranteed? I got the list short. I am going to put Signetti on there because of Indiana's history. Dan Lanning, Kirby Smart is worth probably about 150 because he got two national championships and ain't nothing slowing down there. And so I got to thinking of what other coaches are worth $90 million fully guaranteed. I couldn't really come up with any. Just saying. But you guys though, I appreciate your time. I appreciate your energy. You guys make sure that you guys like, subscribe, tell a friend about the show. Oh, yes. Ryan Day. Glad you put it in the chat, Merce. $90 million. He got a national championship. He's worth it. He's doing it. Now we don't know if he can exist outside of Ohio State, but guess we'll never know. We don't have to figure it out. That list is very, very short. Just telling you. But you guys, thank you for being one of us. Thank you for sharing with us. Thank you for being here. This is one of the fastest growing college football channels on YouTube, and it is because of you. Think about this. 3 weeks ago, we were just passing 25,000 subs. Right now, at this moment that we speak, 25,391 subs on the road to 50,000. Just signed a new partnership for 2026, which I'll be able to announce because of you guys. That means we can bring you more dope stuff, more interviews in the off season, more dope content, food content, every single thing because of y'all. And I do not take it lightly. So like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, and continue to be one of us. Previews will be out tomorrow. A Lane Kiffin reaction video, and also many shorts, everything else. Peace out. Catch you guys. Oh, and the live show on Tuesday reacting to the college football playoff. Thursday as well. College football apostles. We are locked and loaded, people. Locked and loaded.